Hey guys, before we get started, I want to let you know this week's episode is sponsored by the Slaphead and the Giraffe podcast, hosted by Chris and Darren. Chris is a British MMA light heavyweight champion, and he and Darren discuss fighting, fitness, and health. You can listen and download their show for free, available on iTunes and at Podbean. Go to slapheadandgiraffe.podbean.com and check them out. You can also follow them on Twitter at slapheadgiraffe, all one word. Again, they're available on iTunes and at slapheadandthegiraffe.podbean.com. That's slapheadandthegiraffe.podbean.com. Let's start the show. Y'all see them fights this weekend? Yes, I did, Skeeter. Yes, I did. There is no Skeeter. Sorry about that. It's just me, Ed Carbajal, mixed martial arts analyst for page2sports.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Carbazal. And this is number 17 of the Carbazal MMA podcast. We're coming to you right after the big weekend for MMA. When I talk about the big weekend for MMA, I'm not just talking about the UFC events that everybody's bugging over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but if you remember, I said there was a rally to get the MMA ban lifted in the state of New York. I went to that on Friday, and then the MMA World Expo was the following day on Saturday, and I went to that. And I actually got to interview the president of World Series of Fighting, Ray Sefo. And so I actually had the audio for that. I'm going to play for you guys. I talked to him about the ban on MMA in New York and the plans that they have for the promotion in the future with the state and with their upcoming show, World Series of Fighting 26. I talked to him about the 8-man tournament that they just came off of, and some of the comments people were making on social media. How I asked him what he thought about splitting it. I'll play all that for you. I don't need to tell you, because I'm going to play the audio for you. I cleaned it up as best I could. Remember, we were in the Jacob Javits Center, which is a big echo hall, and sound echoes there rather. So lots of stuff went down this weekend, man. So just to get through it, so I can play that interview for you guys. UFC stuff. Get that out of the way first. So the UFC had the marathon, as I mentioned last week on the podcast. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday was the Fight Pass event with Rose Namajunas facing Paige Van Zandt in the main event, and I just got to talk about that because that has not left my mind since I watched it. Let's be honest. I knew not to take anything away from Van Zandt because she did good work, taking a beating. I mean, I don't know how else to say it without sounding messed up. But it's what happened. It's just what happened. She trains at Team Alpha Male, and if anything she's picking up from there, it's how to scramble out of a submission. Because Thug Rose went for, I lost count. I think it's like 3 or 4 before she finally did tap her. By now, I'm sure you guys know that she won by a choke in the final round. But to dominate her for 4 rounds the way she did, and she did dominate her. I mean, she just because she took a beating doesn't mean she was doing well. She obviously got messed up. I mean, she did good as far as being able to scramble out of the submission attempts. I mean, there was one point. One of the arm bars that Rose threw on her bent her arm the other way. So that right there, I mean, the fact that she didn't tap, I mean, she was game to try to survive and win. You got to hand it to her. As much as you want to hate her for the not cutting the hair and the whole Barbie doll and the overly hyping her and stuff, she's a real fighter, and she'll get better over time. But she's definitely, you got to remember, and also Namajunas was the alternate for her, which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of messed up to make it seem like she was the lower grade fighter coming in as an alternate. Because look, on short notice, look what she did. Dominated her. It was just. I want to watch it again. Like, it was really good. I mean, props to Namajunas for the win. I mean, that was an amazing win for her. And then, so that was Thursday night. Friday night, the Ultimate Fighter finale. You guys know I had Ryan Hall picked to win, so I was real happy that he got pulled in to substitute for Saul Rogers, and the fact that he won the decision, I was really happy about that. And of course, my state's own Jersey boy Frankie Edgar, taking it to Chad Mendes and finishing him, solidifying his spot to face the winner of the following night's event. With Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo. That's been the talk of the week. Monday morning hype, Sunday afternoon hype when everybody wakes up around here because things are so late. It was just not what I expected. I mean, I don't know what to say I expected, but not to overanalyze it. I mean, obviously, if anybody had any doubts about Conor McGregor and him cementing his position in the featherweight division in that promotion, he certainly did that on Saturday night by finishing Aldo the way that he finished him. Call it ring rust for Aldo, whatever you want to say. I mean, when all is said and is done, they fought. Conor hit him, and he dropped. I mean, I feel so bad for Aldo. There's that video of him circulating with him and his guys crying in the back. I mean, that's messed up to even show that. It's bad enough. Obviously, bad enough he lost. Now there's the rematch talk and who's going to fight who next. Not for nothing, if Frankie Edgar doesn't get that fight, I mean, the winner from Friday night is supposed to fight the winner from Saturday night. With the way that they're ranked, I mean, the UFC's got to listen to their own rankings and let the man fight for the belt. Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar. That's where my head is at. That's what I want. That's the fight I want to see. So, I hope that happens. But we'll see. I mean, this is early in the week, recording this the Monday after. So it was a really really big fight. Probably the biggest fight next to 189 when I was there for Vegas when Conor McGregor fought Chad Mendes. Any other fights of note? I'm just trying to get through because there's so much happened. It's not just Vegas. It was in New York too. A lot of stuff at the Expo. I want to play that interview for you guys. But just the weight of what's at stake in New York with the sport and mixed martial arts, and just where it is as a sport, and where it is, the fact that it's still banned in one state in the country. It's messed up. So, but I don't want to not talk about, obviously, the UFC having 3 nights of events. You cannot not talk about it. So I just want to make sure I get everything out of the way. And one of the things I did want to mention, as far as all my picks were wrong. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I was having a conversation with Matt McIntosh, the pro wrestler that I've had on previous episode of this podcast, and he was asking me who do I have, and I told him for 194, the Saturday night event, everything obviously I wasn't wrong with my Thursday Friday picks. But Saturday, not so much. Because Chris Weidman lost to Luke Rockhold. Title changed hands officially. Obviously McGregor is no longer the interim. He is the true featherweight champion. And Weidman lost his belt to Rockhold. I mean, that was a hard one to pick for me. I pretty much went with Weidman because I wanted him to win. I mean, he's East Coast, New York, Serra Longo team guys. I mean, yes, I have my favorites. I'm a fan too. I'm a fanboy. I'll analyze it. That fight. I really couldn't. It was hard for me to pick. I know Rockhold is a beast, but I also think Chris Weidman is a beast. So, I was sad that it went the way that it did. I don't know. For me, I think the fight went south for him when he tried to do that spinning kick, and somehow Rockhold just beat him. He took the space before he could even finish the rotation for the kick and took him down, and from that point it was over for him. He really took a beating in that fight, but I think he'll come back, and I think he could get it back. I mean, he did beat Anderson Silva, who was considered one of the best of all time in that division, who was at the MMA World Expo, by the way, in New York. He gave a really awesome seminar. There was this really cool move where he showed how to take the back that as I was there covering it, and as I was watching his seminar, I said, man, I wish I had brought my stuff with me just so I could jump in on this. But the back take, I committed to memory. I took photos, and this morning when I went training myself with the old man crew, I got to rehearse that. So nice guy, man. He was really like just there with everybody and doing the seminar and saying hi to people, and you could tell he's just a true master martial artist, because he doesn't care that his English sucks. He was still doing a seminar to a bunch of people that don't speak Portuguese, and with his broken English, the message was getting through and people were learning. It was really good to have him there. Just photos of him at the seminar over on page2sports.com. You can go check it out. I think I put one of them in the MMA rally in New York article, and this podcast will probably go on as separate because of the news that World Series of Fighting, they unveiled their new logo for 2016, as well as made the announcement that they're going to be opening up offices in New York because it looked, if the ban doesn't get lifted in 2016, then New York it's just gonna fall. It's just gonna fall from grace with me. So you guys know that's a touchy subject for me. So anyway, that's where they were there, and Ray Sefo was there signing autographs and mingling with people. I mean, the sport of mixed martial arts, man, the athletes in that sport, I don't know. I've never chased after football and basketball pro athletes, but these guys, man, I mean, when I was in Vegas at International Fight Week for UFC 189, I mean, they're just so approachable and open to talking to people and just having general conversation. I go to, for my website, theblogboardjungle.com, I do go to a lot of Comic-Cons and horror cons and stuff like that. And when you go to them, you pay to get in. Even if I'm not covering them, it still winds up costing money because, if you want to get something for yourself, you pay to get in, and you have to pay to take pictures and have them sign stuff. And at the both at the UFC's Fan Expo in last July, and at this thing at the MMA World Expo, you just pay to get in. And then you're just there, and everyone's there signing stuff for you, taking photos with you, mingling with you, talking about the sports with you. I mean, whether you're covering it for press or not, it was just a really open environment, because I got there early, and Sefo was taking photos with kids and stuff. I mean, they were signing stuff, and so was David Branch, and John Jones showed up, and he walked into they had a cage set up for the amateur MMA stuff that went on in the evening. The New York Fight Exchange, they also presented, along with MMA's World Series of Fighting. They were part of the sponsors of the event, the World MMA Expo. It was really good. I mean, it was just as good as the UFC's Fan Expo in Vegas. So they're definitely worth going to. They're better than the Comic-Cons and the horror cons, because the athletes and the promoters and stuff, they're not telling you to pay more money just for a photo op or a signature, because they actually just want to take a photo with you or sign stuff for you, because they know, they know without the fans, what they do wouldn't be something successful. And one funny thing is there's this guy, this really heavy set guy, wanted to take a picture with Ray Sefo, and it's funny because if you look at him, he is an intimidating guy. I mean, he and I are about the same size. He's intimidating, though. Like, if he's just hanging by himself, you're like, okay, should I talk to him? Should I not? Either way, So this guy went to take a picture for him, and apparently it's a thing now to do these face-off photos with combat athletes, even though you're not close to being one, or maybe you're thinking about being one. But either way, so the guy that was taking a photo with him to do that, Sefo couldn't stop himself from cracking up because the guy was so obviously not athletic, but he insisted on taking this photo. So he had to like get his mind right and focus, and was like, give me a minute, and then he took the photo. So everybody was really cool. But let me play that interview for you. All right, I'm talking with can I call you Sugar Ray Sefo?
Yeah, absolutely.
The president of World Series of Fighting, and we're here at the MMA Expo in New York. The day after we just had the rally for to get the ban lifted for MMA in New York.
How did that go?
It was a good turnout. A lot of people showed up. I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that, and where do you see your promotion going should the ban be lifted here in the state?
I think it'd be great for everybody, really. I mean, when you if you look at the growth and the evolution of MMA today, I mean, it's just the fastest growing sport right now.
Yeah.
All right. Being on that, being on World Series of Fighting, being on NBC, UFC being on Fox, Bellator being on Spike. I mean, and it's continuing to grow. A buddy of mine also has a mixed martial arts show in Australia. He's on Fox. So yeah, absolutely. When the and if you look around, I mean, mixed martial arts has grown so much. And I said this when we started World Series of Fighting, is that mixed martial arts is just at its beginnings. It's only been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think about Muay Thai, it's been around over 500 years. So, and boxing, and so the MMA is just at the beginnings. And where this sport is going to continue to grow is because there's so much to pull from. When you think about the different type of disciplines, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, judo, wrestling, I mean, there's so much more disciplines to pull from, where you're not just, like when I fought for K1,
yeah,
it was just kickboxers. You had to be a kickboxer, where in mixed martial arts, you could be a wrestler, you could be a judo fighter, you could be a karate guy, you could be, I mean, it's the talent pool is so much more wider than just an individual sport, you know what I mean? So, now coming back to, having MMA in New York, I think it will do wonders for the actual, state. It will do wonders for there's so many mixed martial artists, so many martial arts schools here in New York. So I think it would be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I agree completely. You're just coming off of that hugely successful tournament. Some people were commenting on maybe you could have split it up between two events just because of the people that had to pull out for injury and how it changed. Personally, I thought that it was great that it happened the way that it did, to have Foster come from not being in it to winning it. I mean, that's amazing. Tournaments are so great for the sport, but what do you think about splitting it up?
I wouldn't even think for 1 second to split it up. I mean, I've done tournaments, K1 tournaments, where you fought the best of the best in the world. And so when you have a one-night tournament, it makes it exciting.
It does.
That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
When you look at a guy who lost to the guy, that he meets in the final, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So when you think about, a lot of people can't fathom that, because it's so exciting, because you never know what could happen. And this is what I said at the fight, the fight meeting after the weigh-ins. I said, guys, keep in mind, if you lose the fight and you have to carry on, and the winner can't carry on, you have the opportunity to step back in there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened, and I think because I saw a couple of, maybe one or two people tweeting, I didn't understand that, but it's because they didn't follow, the streaming part, because the quarterfinals were in the prelims.
Yeah.
And then the actual semis and finals were was on national television. So I think one or two people didn't really get it, but at the end of the day, it's one of these things where I love mixed martial arts. I mean, I love one-night tournaments, because really, you really got to be mentally strong for that kind of thing, and to to go out there, and when you look at Foster, he lost to the guy that he ended up meeting in the final and won it.
That's
and
great,
then, and basically revenge his loss 2 hours later. You know what I mean? So as I'm saying, like it's such. For me, I love doing tournaments. I love watching tournaments. It's exciting.
Yeah, I personally
because you never know what could happen.
Yeah, I think other promotions should start doing tournaments like that in one night.
Right.
I mean, it's a perfect way to solidify a top contender.
Exactly.
Or, there's no politics involved.
Right.
The fighter proves himself and wins a tournament.
Absolutely, and that's just exactly. I 100% agree.
And then this is your next event.
Right.
26 coming up.
Yes, WSOF 26 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's held at the Cosmopolitan. It's live on ABC Sports, and it's a great main event. You got Lance Palmer versus Almeida. Alexander Almeida came out in his last outing. Just like Lance Palmer, they both submitted their guys within a minute in the first round, I believe. So I think it's really going to be a good, exciting match because they're both even on stand-up. They're both even on the ground. One is Lance Palmer is a four-time All-American, and then Almeida is a black belt jiu-jitsu guy. So we're gonna see who cancels who out.
Yeah,
and then it may end up being a stand-up fight. So the main event is an exciting one. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So as far as for Justin Gaethje and Foster, you want to make any predictions on that, or are you gonna let them figure it out?
Listen, I love both fighters, and I think they're great fighters. But everybody understands that Justin Gaethje is this freaking bull. You know what I mean? Like that's who he is.
Yeah.
He's just when that bell rings, that guy doesn't understand. He goes from the bell to fifth gear.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go first, second, third, fourth. He goes as soon as that bell rings, he goes straight to fifth gear, and that's how he fights the whole fight. It's crazy, but I love it. I mean, he's Gaethje is a fighter's dream. A promoter's dream, because he's the type of guy you want to promote and a fan's dream, because they love watching him come out and
never boring.
And so it's exciting, and Foster just proved himself time and time again. I mean, the fact that he lost and came back and beat the guy and knocked out the guy that he lost to, I mean, you just can't take that away from him. And like I said, when you're facing a guy like Justin Gaethje, you need to have that mental toughness. And that tournament, I think, helped Foster in terms of, being mentally prepared and prepped for someone like Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a great match.
Yeah, I do too. All right, well, I hope you enjoy the rest of the expo. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
No problem, man. Great to meet you.
Thanks.
So there you have it. President of the World Series of Fighting, Ray Sefo, talking about the state of MMA in New York and things to come for his promotion. Really nice guy. You know what? Like, it was really cool to talk to him and stuff. He's about my size, but he's like, his shoulders are like double the size of me, and I'm really glad that he was as nice and friendly as he was, because it seems like like if he was in a bad mood and didn't like somebody, and he were to strike me in a fit of rage, he'd probably send me back in time or something. I feel like if he hit me, I'd fly back and like see myself, like the Flash when he runs past himself in the Flash. If you watch that TV show, that's how I feel it probably is like to get hit by him. And the only reason I say this is when I shook his hand when I said hello, and when we parted ways, I was like, wow, this dude's strong. So, but really nice guy. So that's it. I think that is all. And like I said, it was really one of the best weekends to close out the year for the sport. Everything that went down in Vegas, all the UFC events, the rally for MMA in New York. Please check out the website. The links are on page2sports.com in the article about the rally, and I've tweeted it a couple of times. But if you're in New York and you hear this, sign the petition and get that ban lifted, because there's no reason for the fighters and the fans to lose out on fighting in New York. So hopefully there's no more games about it. No more games. But that's it for this week. Thanks again for tuning in. And I know I've mentioned it before, but if you like the music that this podcast ends and begins with, please check out Ryan Little's YouTube channel. He is a super, super talented guy that makes a lot of good music. So check him out on YouTube. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll get back to you next week. I'm sorry if I was all over the place, but so much went on with the UFC and the expo, and I'm just like, it's like an adrenaline rush. I can't even get my thoughts together. But I'll have them together for you next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week. If you want to check out the last podcast, go to theblogboardjungle.com. This will be there. And if you want to check out any of the MMA analysis, check out page2sports.com.